What is up, guys? Wraec is here with a new video, and today I want to talk about Starspawns and the current Starspawn meta in Idle Heroes. I did a video like this before, and the idea is basically to analyze the current meta a little bit, to maybe give an idea of an upcoming meta in Idle Heroes, and then to give you an idea of which Starspawns you should choose and which Starspawns provide the best stats for your account. So, starting off with one of these Starspawns that I see as being probably one of the most necessary in the future, and it just so happens that the guy is scrolling down right below here. That is the Ranger Starspawn. What does the Ranger Starspawn do? It provides you with dodge offset, and also provides a 50% stat bonus for Rangers, which, well, is kind of nice, but not that important. Dodge offset. Why do we need dodge offset? It wasn't really a topic for a whole long time, because the last time we really looked at this stat was in regards to carry, in regards to Wraec, maybe a bit in regards to SFX, especially in Aspen Dungeon. Now this Starspawn will, in my opinion, get a lot more publicity, a lot more attention, because we got new Transcendence Hero. If we take a look at that, this new Transcendence Hero that we got, Lord of Sparkles Yom Tomb, he has an ability, I can find it. There is a 25% chance to dodge this attack. Basically, he has a 25% chance to dodge actives and basic skills, and I think this even gets enhanced to 35% chance to dodge. And of course, there are other ways to gain dodge as well, or chance to dodge. If we see Mirage Pollen here, there's another 35% as a debuff for the enemy, so any enemy with Mirage Pollen has a debuff that basically gives the enemy the hit they try to hit a 35% chance to dodge and attack. Of course, two sources of dodge make it rather difficult to hit the enemy, and you will want to work against that if you want to have fun, or well, any fun in endgame PvP. So this Starspawn, of course, gets more importance every time we see that. There is some dodge in hero token as well for Rangers, so even more dodge there. And the more dodges in the meta, the more dodge offset we naturally need. And this Starspawn is one of the few sources we even have of dodge offset. So make sure you got that upgraded if you want to do endgame PvP. It's not really a PvE thing too much. Like, aside from the stages that I told you, Void Vortex with carry, maybe Aspen Dungeon regarding carry and SFX, it's not really too much too important for PvE, but for PvP, especially in the end game, I see Yom Tomb in there, and if he is in there, you will want to have this Starspawn. Make sure you roll it towards the end of the video, by the way, if you care for it. We will do about 40 rerolls of this one as well, so that's at the end of this video. Then, of course, we can check out the upgrade screen. This one is a tool, not really will not really buff your damage too much, but your ways of dealing damage. And then we have another meta contender that demands to have some Starspawns here as well, and that meta contender is obviously TBB. TBB Intertwine have shaken up the meta quite a lot. Before there were DTV sustain teams. Suddenly DTV sustain teams got absolutely destroyed by TBB, and TBB is now in every single team that we find at Void Horde depth 10. So what do you want for that? Well, obviously CI offset, that is our Mage Starspawn, by the way, beautiful roll that I have, a 154%, pretty nice. Control immunity offset 18.6%. It works against the enemy's control immunity stat. A lot of heroes have control immunity. If they don't have control immunity, we might get that from PDE. And we get the extra stat bonus from mages here as well. And you can get this Starspawn, and if you even want to amplify the effect of that, you go for this guy. Also, control immunity offset will even give you some attack. Don't have the most beautiful roll here because the attack is rather low, but control immunity offset 161%, pretty nice. So get those two if you want to run PDE, even if you are in the early game. Honestly, if you run pretty early to mid game, well, early games are mostly LOEs, isn't it? I have no idea. If you are pretty early in the game, maybe you have 1, 2, 3, 4 Transcendence Heroes, and one of them is TBB, consider getting those two Starspawns. They will make it way more likely that you CC the entire enemy team, and it will actually help you a ton. So those two aside, CI offset still very important. Dodge offset getting more important. We have some other star spawns that I would categorize as support type star spawns that help enable heroes, while those two enable CC heroes. This one enables PvE, PvP endgame damage and some PvE damage. We have also heroes that enable support heroes, and one of them that I noticed a lot in the recent times is actually the block star spawn. One that wasn't regarded as too great. You can see provides 43% block here with a 145% block roll, very nice. And I noticed that when I was on an account that didn't have the star spawn and used HHA, that it was actually a horrible experience. HHA provides your heroes with shields whenever the specific hero blocks. And if you can't block, well, you don't get shields. So what I want to say is, if you want to run HHA, make sure you got this guy. Make sure you got this star spawn. 43% block is really a great amount if we compare it. Let's actually check that out for a second, because I want to compare it to something. If you haven't seen the video, by the way, about the Star Swordsman Mockman, make sure you watch that. We're going to do some Star Swordsman Mockman stuff in the future. Will be definitely quite huge. Very nice copy. We can check it out on this hero. And if we just check out the stats, where's block? Block. So we see that 7 times 10 is a 70% block buff if we choose the imprint, but we obviously discard other stats for that. We don't get the 35% damage reduction or crit or whatever we want to choose instead. And with that, and with the block stat and of course the block star spawn, I get to 133% here, which is very nice. That is a pretty good block stat also for competitive game modes. For PvP, that is very nice. And in PvE, just getting the base block line, especially if you don't have a huge treasure train that could give you some block from maybe the hero token or some other stats there. Stats? Series. Treasure train series, yeah. Then this star spawn is invaluable to activate your HHA. If you don't have HHA, it provides a decent damage reduction because you get some chance to block. Obviously, half of the hits nearly will be blocked if you have a good roll there. But if you have HHA, I fully recommend running this guy. There was also still the thing with Armor Break. Armor Break is a stat that is no longer that important in the end game, but it is not because, well, or it doesn't make those star spawns that we have for Armor Break bad. They are the reason it is not important, because those star spawns that we have here, especially this guy on the top left, provide so much armor break that you can nearly hit 100% just from the get-go without relying on any other sources of it. If we check that out, we have 49% armor break in here with a 50% stat bonus for shadow heroes. So half of the armor break that you need, 100%, is the cap of armor break. If you have 100% armor break, armor never matters for you. You can get 49% here already. Given we have a 163% roll, the baseline is a lot lower. We can check that out as well. What's the baseline? Baseline is 30%, but still 30% is a lot. And then of course we have another armor break star spawn that we can use, and this armor break star spawn should be this guy if I don't see it wrong. 19.3%. We also get crit damage here, is one of the few sources of crit damage, so this guy is actually pretty valuable and one of the big damage dealer or damage support star spawns that will give you a lot of damage in multiple game modes. Again, with the shadow and in this case assassin buff. So getting those two star spawns to a decent level, I think, is the baseline if you want to do huge SE damage, if you want to do huge boss damage, and in general not worry too much about armor, because it's very much possible to scale armor at the moment and get a huge damage reduction from that. And one of the star spawns that enables you to do so, if you want to make use of people maybe not having too much armor break, as this guy, 48% armor buff, of a 160% bonus, of course. 48% is quite a lot. We can gain other huge armor bonuses, but this one also quite nice. Also, again, here we have block. If you want to enhance the block that you have even more, this is another way to do it. Though, given the block stat on this one isn't quite as huge, and I think the armor doesn't play too much of a role if you mostly focus on PvE. So this one is one that I would rather build towards the end game as one of your last star spawns maybe, because you don't miss out on too much block. The armor it isn't too important in PvE because those enemies deal a lot of holy damage. So if you have this guy, use the block from him, activate your HHA by that, get a few blocks in, get some block buffs, then you are mostly fine. So that being said, this guy, not that important. This guy, huge damage buff. And in regards to Starspawns that are not that important, HP percent, decent, but not really necessary at all. We get a lot of fixed stats to drain there. This doesn't really help you. Same for the attack one. I have a good roll on the attack one though, just because I optimized towards attack, and oh, bloody hell, 178%. The roll is more insane than I remembered. So yeah, those two don't really enable you to do anything. They give you some baseline of a bit more damage or a bit more HP, but they aren't that great. So getting to the Starspawns that really provide you with huge damage, well, we have this row. Of course, we have the all damage dealt Starspawn, one of the ones that you should have. All damage dealt 15.1% here. We got the 167% bonus here, and on top of that, plus 50% for Transcendence heroes is a huge source of all damage dealt, and one of the baselines heroes that you should build as soon as you have your first Transcendence hero as a damage dealer. If you use a support Transcendence hero, don't really need it, but as soon as your damage dealer is a Transcendence hero, get this one, get the all damage dealt with the 50% bonus, and this is one of the biggest damage buffs that you can get here. Followed by the Holy Damage Starspawn. Took a bit of a hit as we got the Holy Damage treasure. If you have the Holy Damage Festival treasure, it's no longer that great. But if you don't have that and you don't really have other sources of holy damage, that's 30% more damage right there. Because that's the way holy damage works. It takes your damage, you add the holy damage on top of it. That part of the damage is armor ignoring even. So if you got decent roll, we have 164% here. Nearly ending up on 30% holy damage. That's a 30% damage increase, which is absolutely insane and an absolutely huge buff. So definitely make sure you get that. This one is one of the ones that you should get last. 77 skill damage was impactful on non-Transcendence heroes, but now that we have 2000% attack damage from like your tomb, what do 77% really do? Not too much. So this is one that you can get last, and this is 130% roll that I have here. It's also not that great. So I don't really focus on that one, can't really recommend. Maim, Aika really told me that this gets converted to all damage dealt, interestingly enough. We always thought that it was a different stat. If you don't know what Maim is, basically the lower the HP of the enemy, the more damage you deal, up to a damage bonus of 28% on this one. I got this, buffed it to 140% because also stat bonus for Assassin were using MFG at the time. Yeah, if it's converted to all damage dealt, it is not bad per se. I mean, it's a higher all damage dealt buff than we get from the whale, but it has a condition. And having a condition always makes a stat buff worse. And if we see something, for example, like huge enemies with shields in PvP, well, they don't really have low life. They have max life and a big shield. And then we find the way to punch through either with a Wraec or with like a weakness disclosure DTV, or we just nuke them from the get-go with a TBB, but then we nuke them from full life. So it often isn't even active. So it's a bit worse actually than a whale, but still a decent stat that loses importance the more all damage dealt treasures we get from festivals. Okay. Still, we have some more damage dealer Starspawns down below. We have this guy, is also all damage dealt, also some precision. Not a whole lot precision, sadly. I would have wished it had a bit more. Then again, well, the roll isn't really that great. 105%, but we have 176% all damage dealt. Couldn't really pass on that. Is a good Starspawn. You can get it, I think, maybe after you got the Assassin Starspawn and the Holy Damage one and the Whale. If you go for damage ones, you go for this guy. We have this one. 8.1% holy damage, we saw it before. The 10.2% control immunity are nice, but I would get this one as one of the last, basically together with this guy. The skill damage one, this isn't really too great. We haven't talked about this one yet. This Starspawn is basically the better version of the normal Forest Starspawn. Normal Forest Starspawn provides you with HP. This one does too, isn't too important, but the damage reduction sure is. In general, I would rather go for stats like damage reduction, block, those are much more impactful than fixed HP or even percent HP. So those will help you way more towards the end game, will be way better. And in total, so I think we haven't talked about the heal effect one and the one above that yet. So heal effect, I only see that really worthwhile if you use Ferrocene Vessel or SQH on your team. Both of those are pretty interesting if you use heal effect. But other than that, it's a nice stat. Don't focus too much on it. Don't get it super early, maybe. I see other Starspawn as just more important. But it's nice to have if you are in the end game. I would definitely not lose out on it. I rolled it a bit recently just to get a bit more heal. And it obviously gives you some different ways to heal. You can sometimes even rely only on the SQH heal if your heal effect is high enough. Just because, of course, smaller heals become more important because they just get bigger. And if you get bigger heals from mechanics like SQH's passive heal, then you can discard more, well, heal-focused heroes like Ferrocene Vessel that don't provide much else for your team. So it may free up a slot, which can be very good if you enhance it a bit. So it's one of the better Starspawns, even though I wouldn't necessarily build it early on. Then we have this guy, crit damage reduction, one of the rare sources for its stat bonus for warriors. What else do you want? Is a good defensive Starspawn and will help your heroes survive a bit more. And crit damage reduction is still one of the rarer stats. So one of the better defensive Starspawns. Not too great, not really build enabling, not hero enabling like the block one. It's just a pretty decent defensive Starspawn. Okay, now that we've talked about all of those heroes, let's find a conclusion here. Let's talk about the ones that you should get and the ones that you should definitely have. In terms of damage, the Whale, still super good. It's the one that you should go for. Second for this guy. And then third, it really depends on what you want to go. You want more all damage dealt, you can go this path, basically get those two. Or you go down below and maybe enhance your armor break a little bit together with your crit damage. That can be quite interesting. And beyond that, really, those are the Starspawns that you want. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. The other ones that provide damage just don't provide the same amounts. It's not that interesting. Must-have Starspawns in the new PvP meta. Or dodge offset, most definitely. You will want the block Starspawn. There's no way around it, in my opinion. It's just the more block you have, the more precision the enemy requires to get around it, and it will become very hard for him to make your heroes not block. So definitely get this guy, get a good roll on him. Will be pretty important for you. The not important Starspawns, should list them. I think this guy is not important. This guy is decent, but one of the ones that you should get later. We also don't really need the SD one, and we don't need those two, I think, though the attack one is obviously still a bit better, because everything that provides attack is rather nice. Defensive-wise, we got the block one, which is, in my opinion, the best. Crit damage reduction, I would place second, actually. I like this guy with the armor block, maybe third. And then fourth, I would place this guy. And I think with that, you basically know all of the things that you need to know about Starspawns right now. Top Starspawns that you should get. It is always dependent on your account. You don't need CI offset Starspawns if you don't run any control. If you don't run TBB or on Starwing Jorah, yeah, not really any reason to go for control immunity offset. But if you do, they become infinitely more important. And you should definitely build them. If you don't run HHA, I mean, you can still run block, of course, but it won't have the same appeal to it. It becomes a must-have once you run HHA. It is not that important if you don't run HHA. So keep that in mind, that there are certain Starspawns that you will want to have once you build certain heroes. That is important. Those, like all damage dealt, yeah, that's nice for every single hero. It's no longer not really connected to a specific hero. Maybe in that case only that your main damage dealer should be a Transcendence hero if you really go for that. Okay, that being said, we also wanted to do some rerolls of this guy, see if we can get something nice, and that will be basically the end of this video. Let's just type 9. Oh, we have to select something. Can we just go? Yeah, we can just go like that. Nice. Okay, exchange, we got 44. Pretty good, and we try to go for a very high roll of the dodge offset. Will be pretty difficult because we have a 2-stat Starspawn here. Try to do it rather swiftly. 2-stat Starspawns in general don't tend to peak on a single stat very high. Yeah, fixed attack is not really what we're looking for. We really need a high dodge offset. 130% is often the best that I could do on a 2-stat Starspawn. Beyond that, you're getting into B tier territory, or the green star, pretty quickly, and it becomes quite difficult. Those are very rare and not very common. We still haven't rolled any A tier Starspawns. Oh, okay. Nice. Good, we're done with that. 164 dodge offset. That will be very nice for the new meta, and I think we'll keep those for the next time. I think I need a specific Starspawn. Yeah, 19.7% good upgrade, and I think we can end this video on that. Greetings to NXKX, who will no doubt again shame my luck on this. And if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you do that. We're getting closer to the 10K. And other than that, I wish you some very nice holidays now and a great day. We'll see us in the next one.